Hey friends, Jeff Babetis with Family Promise of the Triangle. What does Family Promise even do? What do we do? That's the question that we're going to answer today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what our mission is, and then I'm going to give you a rundown of all of the support services that we provide here at Family Promise of the Triangle. So first, our mission. Our mission is to move families who are either at risk of experiencing homelessness or who are experiencing homelessness into stable, permanent housing through a continuum of support services. So the first question that you might be asking is, why families? Well, it's because families face a unique set of obstacles when they're experiencing homelessness. Because on one hand, they can go seek shelter at a conventional shelter. But if they do that, then they have to split up into several shelters throughout the county. So these would be men's shelters, women's shelters, youth shelters, child-friendly shelters. Or they could stay together but have to sleep in their car. We don't want to see anyone have to make a decision between those two things. So we provide support services where families can stay together. So, on to the main event here. What exactly is the rundown of our support services? What is this continuum of support services? Well, it all starts with homelessness prevention. We are very proud to report that in 2023, we were able to prevent 79 evictions. 79 evictions. This means that over 200 children were able to stay in their homes and be prevented from experiencing homelessness in 2023 through our services. This is a proactive approach for assisting families rather than a reactive approach once a family is already experiencing homelessness. We receive referrals through school social workers to locate families who are at risk of homelessness. And once we get those referrals, we reach out to the family, we talk with them about what their needs are, and then we provide one-time assistance, usually to utility companies or landlords. We do landlord mediation, budgeting, and life skills so that families can stay in their homes, but also stay in their homes in the long term. So that's prevention. Let's move on to our second program. Our second program is rapid rehousing. The jargony term for rapid rehousing is that it's a housing first model. And what this basically means is that we move families who are either at risk of experiencing homelessness or who are experiencing homelessness into a home first. Then we provide wraparound services. The theory behind the housing first model is basically that families are going to have a hard time focusing on anything else like employment or daycare or life skills or anything like that until they have a home. They're not going to be able to focus on those things. And so we start with the home, housing first, and then we provide those wraparound services. But this brings us to our third program, which is transitional housing. Rather than a housing first model, transitional housing is a housing ready model. So what will happen is that a family will be referred to us and they'll stay in one of our 12 apartments for up to a year, and during that time they'll work with a social worker on things like budgeting and life skills. And they'll also work during this time and save 30% of their income. We'll hold that for them in escrow until they graduate, and what this means is that after a year of getting on their feet, learning about budgeting, learning life skills, sometimes working 2 or 3 jobs, they will graduate with an emergency savings account. We're talking about people who may have been previously unbanked, never dreamed of having a nest egg that they can rely on, and they are graduating with an emergency savings account. We love this program and we see a lot of success with it. Fourth, we provide emergency shelters for families. This is sort of a traditional shelter program. People can stay in one of our 12 apartments for up to 12 weeks. And this is a shelter where families can stay together. They won't have to choose between either sleeping in their car or splitting up into different shelters. This is a shelter that a family can stay in together and be a source of support for one another during a really vulnerable time. So we have prevention, rapid rehousing, transitional housing, and emergency shelter. After those 4 programs, we offer 2 stabilization programs. One of them is a partnership with the Triangle Apartment Association. It's called A New Lease on Life. And this is where a family who graduates from one of our programs can continue to get back on their feet and move into their own apartment, but at a reduced rate for 2 years. And then finally, we have another stabilization program called Safe at Home. This is where people who graduate from our programs can receive one-time assistance each year, just in case there's an emergency, because we don't want to see them enter back into homelessness. So those are our 6 programs. That's what we do here at Family Promise of the Triangle. If you want to learn more about any of these programs or do a sort of deep dive into them, of course you can email Rashawn, our program director, or you can stay tuned to this YouTube channel because we post videos up here about these programs all the time, and you can do a deep dive into them that way and hear from the case managers who run them. But one last thing I want to point out is that we call this a continuum of support services. And it's because these 6 programs aren't designed to be a random smattering of popular programs that are out there. They're designed to work in tandem or in concert with one another. So, for example, somebody might enter into our emergency shelter program, and while they're staying in one of our shelter units, they might realize that they're qualified for our transitional housing program. And so they'll stay with us for a year and enter that transitional housing program where they save. And then after that, they might take advantage of one of our stabilization programs after they graduate. We see this happen all the time, and we love it because what we see with each of those steps is growth. And that's largely because these programs are also designed just to give the families space and time to be their best. This is something that is so crucial for us and something that we're so proud of, honestly, because it means that when we brag about how great our programs are, we're really just bragging about how great our guests are. They're the ones who are doing the hard work of turning their lives around and making a better future for their families. So thank you so much for your interest in Family Promise, the Triangle. You can learn more about us at our website, which is www.familypromisetriangle.org. And you can also use the social media links there or the contact info to reach out to us personally. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.